Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, I recently read a study that said that humans eat far more bananas than monkeys. Duh! I've eaten tons of bananas. I've never once eaten a monkey. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a preview look at Sky Empire from Greymarsh Games. Sky Empire from Greymarsh Games takes place in the faraway world of Dophius. This is a gas giant which has a unique chemical composition that actually allows floating islands and the various characters to go and visit these islands. But there's a big problem because you see, Dophius has recently been invaded, attacked by the evil Sentinels who want to destroy all life on this world. So the Ground Council has made a decision. Because the Sentinels are so effective at degrading the planet's planetary shield, then they've offered anyone, any of the special beings on the planet, the Dopplers, who can fix the planetary shield, will be made the new Emperor. Now, this plays 2 to 4 players, and each player will pick which Doppler character they're going to play. They'll get a unique player board with that Doppler's special abilities and objectives. You'll also take 2 Doppler figures and 2 airships that you'll command. Players are going to go ahead and create a game board based on tiles. You can actually go around and each player can place various tiles, thus creating a map, or you can play a prearranged map. But you go ahead, have your own home tiles out there, and then create the various others, including some volcanoes and other fun and interesting places. Now, in the center of the game board, in tile 0, you will also place a yellow crystal. More on that in a bit. Now, players will also put out decks for the various resources. You'll have an action deck, a yellow objective deck. You will also have an event deck, which will have kind of the early, the middle, and the late part of the games represented. And this is going to be important for controlling the Sentinels and other kooky events. On the game board, you're also going to put 4 Sentinel buildings. These go on the 4 volcano tiles on the board. Players are also going to put exploration tokens on all the tiles, save their home tile. You're also going to place the council board, and the 6 council cards will be placed randomly along the middle row. Players will start with their home base building and 2 of their airships on their home tile. Players will also put dice on their airship blueprints. This will indicate kind of their shields and their hull strength. You don't roll these dice, they are indicators of your strength. Players are also going to take 100 candles. This is kind of the currency of the game. And they're also going to put 4 initiative tokens in their on their player board, and then also the rest of their initiative tokens will be close by in a supply. Now, throughout the game, you'll also have access to developments. These are little tiles that you will actually be able to place on your Doppler's board. There's 4 different kind of text to choose from, and you ultimately will only be able to build on 2 of them. But there will be access to ancient developments and a few other goodies. But they too will aid you in your quest to become Emperor. Now, the object of the game is for a player to collect all 4 of the unique crystals and take them to a monolith location. The first player that can do that will win the game and be crowned Emperor. Now, for the first round, 1 player will be given the first player token. In subsequent rounds, players will have the opportunity to take the first player token. More on that later. Now, the first thing the first player does every round is reveal the event deck card. And this will have various information about weather and how the sentinels will function. It may tell you to move sentinels or to draw a card off the sentinel deck, which will give you more information. Next, players are going to commit their Dopplers. Now, there's different things you can do here. You can put your Doppler with one of your airships in one of the areas you control. There may be bonuses if your airships go out and they have a Doppler with them, and there may be some things you can take advantage of with your own unique player advantages. Also, you can choose to place your Doppler on one of the council cards. Now, there are different council cards that do different things. Now, these different council actions do different things. Some of them will give you more candles. Some of them will give you more initiative tokens. Some of them will let you take the first player token. And there's a lot of different things that they will let you do. Now, you can choose to do the primary action or the secondary action. Usually, you'll only do the secondary action if you want to take that action, but the primary space is already taken because the primary action tends to be a lot more powerful. Once every player has placed their Doppler on the board, you go to the action phase. Now, for the action phase, there's different things you can do. First of all, you can go ahead and activate a tile. You do that by placing one of your initiative tokens there, and you can move your airships and Dopplers into those locations. Now, if you go there, there's a few things that happen. Once you've committed your airships, if there are opposing airships in there, you immediately go to combat. Now, during combat, the attacker is the person who, of course, initiated the combat. They're going to go ahead and they're going to roll their die. They're going to consult their blueprints. That's going to tell them what kind of die they're going to roll. They're going to go ahead and roll those looking for the hits and the surges. Surges allow you to trigger special abilities on your airships. And then what you're going to do is count up all of the hits that you have made or any special abilities that triggered off of the surges. And then the other player will, of course, apply those hits. Then the defender will go ahead and they will do the same thing. And you will continue to go back and forth until one side or the other is eliminated. Now, assuming there's no combat, you can go to exploration. If there's an exploration token on the tile, you can remove that token, put it in your player area, and then you're going to draw a card for the appropriate type of tile that you've landed in. Now, that card may give you some materials there. It may allow you to do fun and interesting things. It may allow you to take back your initiative token if you have a Doppler present. There's a lot of different things that these exploration cards can grant you. Now, you may have a building in that location you've activated, and there are different kinds of buildings that do different things. You can go ahead and activate that building that time. For instance, if you have a mine there, you can go ahead and activate the mine to get the resources from that tile. If you have an Aether Forge, you can go ahead and build and repair airships. If you have a gas farm there, it can produce resources from gas areas. If you get a bazaar, you can make up to 6 buy and sell transactions for resources. If you have the Ancient Sky Tower, that grants you a blue crystal. You can also construct airships at your home base. The next thing you can do is construct buildings. You can actually build one of these buildings I mentioned on a tile you control. The last thing you'll do with the tactical actions is check for victory. If you have all 4 of the crystals and are on a monolith location, you win. But then, of course, you also have the ground council actions. Now, when you placed your Dopplers in the ground council, you can now go ahead and take advantage of that. Depending on where it is on the ground council, you can actually move the Doppler down where it can get some bonuses, and then you can take the action that you wanted to take if you were in the primary spot. But after you've taken that action, as I say, you go ahead, you move the Doppler down to the bottom of the board. Next, you can take a component action. These are found on certain cards or on Doppler boards. You can go ahead and take that specific action on your turn as well. Finally, you can pass. Once every player has passed, you go to the end of the round. At the end of the round, you have the cleanup phase. Essentially, what you're going to do is remove all of the initiative tokens from the game board. You're not going to put them onto your individual Doppler board. Rather, you're going to put them into your supply. Next, you're going to go ahead and look at the council board. Now, depending on how many Dopplers are, or were rather, in a certain location on the board, you're going to go ahead and arrange the board so that it reflects that. Meaning, the most powerful actions, the actions that people use most, are going to be deprioritized for the next round, and those that were not selected will be prioritized. Next, players will remove all of their Dopplers from the council board and the game board and put them back on their Doppler board. Now, as I mentioned, the goal of the game is to collect the 4 different types of crystals and then get to a monolith. And there's different ways you can collect these crystals. For instance, the yellow crystal, there is one in the center of the board. The first person there gets it. Otherwise, you can do a yellow objective card. And you can collect these through other game cards, the action cards, event cards. Different game effects will allow players to go on one of those quests. You can also gain a yellow crystal if you use a Leviathan ship to drill into a rock island. The red crystal of power can be obtained if you defeat an enemy's behemoth or a Leviathan in combat, if you destroy another player's home base or their ancient sky tower, or if you use a Leviathan to drill on a rock island. The green crystal you can obtain if you complete the objective on your Doppler board. You can gain the blue crystal if you have 12 or more buildings in play, if you construct an ancient sky tower, or use a Leviathan to drill in a tropical island. As I say, the very first player to gain all of these crystals and then get to a monolith location wins Sky Empire. Sky Empire is a grand, epic science fiction steampunk game in which players are trying to collect the proper crystals and make it to a monolith in order to win. Along the way, you will have many adventures. You'll have combat with each other, combat with the Sentinels. You'll be able to build bigger and better airships. You'll have to gain their blueprints first, but then you can actually create these great ships, including that gigantic Leviathan. Throughout the game, you will also be gaining those developments that will be giving you access to more and better abilities throughout the course of the game. You will be doing explorations, which will also give you opportunities left and right. And you will also have the events, which will play out and set the stage for every round. So I should point out what you're seeing here is a prototype. It is not the finished game that you will see with this campaign. Now, I've got to tell you, the artwork looks great, the airships look great, the Dopplers look great. Clearly, there's a lot of love in this production. You also have a ton of cards that you're going to get, and you also have many different kinds of resources that you'll be using during the course of the game. Sky Empire brings to mind other great epic science fiction games like Twilight Imperium, Eclipse. If you're somebody who really likes great world building, a very immersive story, wonderful production values, great minis, a lot of good stuff on the cards and artwork, then this may be something you're going to want to check out when it comes to GameFound. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to the GameFound campaign shortly, as soon as it's up. And again, if this looks like something you're interested in, I think you're definitely going to want to check this one out. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we'd ask you to please leave a comment for us here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, on X. We do love to hear back from you. We'd ask you to please subscribe to this channel and leave a thumb here, and leave a thumb to us on Board Game Geek, and subscribe to all the good social media stuff as well. If you really do like the channel, I'd ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history and military history and fun things like that. And if you really do enjoy what you see here on The Discriminating Gamer, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. You know, my SUV has a button that says Rear Wiper. I'm afraid to push it.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
I gotta tell you, if you play this game, it's like going on a Romulan holiday. Romulan holiday. You didn't think I was going to bring Dalton Trumbo back into it, did you?